Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation, the original one. To be honest, I don't even need to set it with powder. It just gives me a matte finish, and many days I just wear that and no powder. But today I'm wearing this, which is Estee Lauder Lucidity. When I wear Blot powder over Estee Lauder Double Wear, it can tend to look quite powdery. Lucidity works really well because it's a very finely milled translucent powder. It looks like that. This one's shade light. The one thing I'll say I don't really like about this is, number one, you get slightly less than Blot powder. You get 11.4 grams. I think Blot is 12 or something, nothing major. But it's a lot bigger, the compact, so it leaves you into a false sense of security that there's this huge amount of powder, whereas really I think it's quite annoying to have that broad border, and I just would rather it was a bit more compact. Also, it's got a scent to it, a kind of floral perfume, which I think you'll get used to it and hopefully it will fade, but that's something I noticed. I do really like this for the sake of it being extremely translucent. It's not going to change the colour of your foundation. It really does minimise fine lines and any minor skin issues you have, because something in it deflects the light away from your face. And I think it does work, so I do like that. I'm not sure I'll repurchase, but I might do. For now, do highly recommend that. Seeing as I just mentioned this is MAC Blot powder, and I actually really like the packaging on this. I think it's really compact, it's quite well protected. I can have this in my bag, it's not going to get damaged, and it's got a nice size mirror, not as nice as the Estee Lauder one, but it will do for touch-ups. This looks rather the same. It's not quite as finely milled as Lucidity, I don't think. It's a bit more chunky, but for oil control this is definitely one of the best. I mentioned it in my HG video. I've been very, very faithful to this. I've rebought it numerous times. The price is right, the colour's good. I will always continue to buy this, and I do really recommend this. So that's Blot powder. This is Kryolan Anti Shine powder. It is translucent, it looks white, and it's really, really, really effective. This has been used in, I think, Miss World, and it's used on bald heads and by broadcasters and in theatre. This is what they told me in Charles Fox, the shop. If you use a powder puff and literally press it into your oily areas. I personally just use a brush. The only thing is it's loose, so it can be a bit messy if you want to carry it around. So it's not as convenient as a pressed powder, but on the other hand, this stuff lasts and lasts and lasts. This is quite cheap, I think £14 or something at Charles Fox, and this gigantic pot is going to last you such a long time. I've had it for months and I can't see it going down at all. You get 30 grams, which is a huge amount. I think on any skin tone it's going to go on clear. So if you haven't tried it, it gets really good reviews on Makeup Alley, and it really is one of the best at oil control. So highly recommend that. A really cheap alternative if you want oil control is this e.l.f. Complexion Perfection, and this comes with a huge mirror and a really classy, compact, very NARS inspired. This is just like Blot powder, except I find it really evens out my skin tone more than Blot powder. I know some people use it quite painstakingly, the pink one for under the eyes, the green one for blemishes, the blue one for red veins, the yellow ones for dullness, or I don't even know what the yellow one's for, but I'm just quite lazy. I just swirl my brush in and just use it as a setting powder. Getting rid of red on impact and just controlling oil is fabulous. I think it might be slightly better suited to pale skin tones because it does go on quite a pale shade. But again, you can just use it sparingly and I think it would work for any skin tone. £3.50, you really can't argue at all. And the last powder, which I think is quite good for oily skin, is this Clinique Almost Powder Makeup. And this is designed to be a powder foundation. This colour is 01 Fair, And if I use this, I use it with my kabuki brush, and it does give quite a good amount of coverage, but I find if I just use a normal brush, this can give quite good oil control as well. So I just thought I'd mention that. It's not as effective as Blot powder or the e.l.f. powder, but I think it's really nice at oil control, and it does give you that added benefit of being quite high coverage as well. So that's a good one if you've got oily skin with blemishes, something like that. This will give you coverage and oil control. So that's Clinique. Now moving on to powders which give benefits to luminize the skin or to give you that glowy look. Obviously the Lucidity is very much in this category, really doesn't give me a matte effect. And similarly, this is e.l.f. Mineral Booster. This one's in Tinted, which is slightly tinted, but it's so finely milled that it really doesn't show up as tinted. This gives really good oil control, but it never gives you a matte effect. Looks like that. And when I put this on, it's a bit messy. That's the only thing I don't like about these mineral powders. But anyway, once you put it on, it's really easy to blend. It gives you an absolutely natural look. It does soak up oil. Something in the mineral really does help with oil control, but it never gives you a matte effect. And I remember watching Odds with Jasmine was saying that this is really good for dry skin, and I was thinking, no, it's for oily skin. But it gives you actually a glowy look. So it's the best of both worlds, and I highly recommend this one as well. It's £3.50. I did want to mention, this is Bare Essentials. This is actually the blusher. I really love the blusher. I love the bronzer. I like warmth. I love the eyeshadows, and I think it's a really good brand. I like the lip gloss. But as far as the foundation, it didn't control my oil at all. But I haven't tried Mineral Veil, and I'm going to be checking out Mineral Veil very soon, so I'll let you know about that. So just mention that in passing. Okay, now talking about double wear, some people don't like the matte effect it gives, and in my double wear video, which I'll put here, I actually used a setting powder deliberately to kill that really mattifying effect, because I know some people criticise double wear as being like paint or dry and matte and unnatural. Personally, I don't agree with that, but if you do find that, then there's a very simple remedy. This is Helena Rubinstein Fairy Dust in Angel Face. This is verging on being a highlighter, but because it's so finely milled and it's that very pale shade, if you don't pack this on, if you just use it as a setting powder all over your face, that's exactly what you'll get. So really like this. I don't know if you can still get it, but nice stuff. I use powders over my concealer just under my eyes, and so I'd like to briefly talk about three that I really like. The first one is e.l.f. High Definition Powder. I haven't tried the Makeup Forever one, but I hear that this is very similar. The only thing I don't like about this is, although I think the packaging looks really professional, I think it's very bulky, so I don't really like that about it. Or I don't use it as a face powder, but I think it's brilliant for setting under eye concealer. It's obviously clear and it just sets it in place really well, so that's great. And apparently it's really good for photos as well. Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, and this one is in the white. This one works just the same, very, very clear, but it has a bit more sparkle, and it really does seem to brighten up your under eye area as well as setting the concealer. And this is my Powderflage. This is probably my favourite actually. This is by Benefit, and it's same concept, but this one has a slight pink tone to it, setting my concealer and also brightening. And sometimes I use it in my frown line and expression lines, and it works quite well at that as well. So I do like this and do recommend it. It's quite small, but it does last quite well. And now I'd like to quickly talk about the brushes which I use. This one is a Trish McAvoy brush. This is her bronzer brush in 37. This is amazing for bronzer, it's quite good for blusher, but it's also really good for a light dusting of powder, just for a very natural look. Really soft bristles. Highly recommend this brush and all her brushes. This is e.l.f. Complexion Perfection. I literally use this every day. I think it's brilliant for just setting your powder. It's got this flat face. It's also good for contouring because it's quite thin, but I just really like it for powder, blusher. This is a fan brush. I got this from eBay. It's called Pupa. I think this is made out of fox hair. It's really soft, and for blusher or for a very light dusting of powder, this is excellent. Then there's the Mud Big Powder Brush. I use this with my Kryolan powder and it really works very well. I use it with loose powders mainly, and it's just the best brush. It's so luscious and full and soft, luxurious brush, and highly recommend. And then there's this MAC 129. This is the best brush to use with Blot powder. It's the nearest you can get to a powder puff in brush form, and it really presses it into your oily areas, and it's brilliant. So those are the brushes that I recommend. I hope that helped, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.